What's going on, Cowboy Nation? Welcome, of course, Cowboy Nation. Welcome to the divisional round, and most importantly, welcome to Primetime Studios. Like always, I'm your host, Primetime Phil, and like always, my co-host, GameTime Bryan. What's going on, Bryan?
Primetime Phil, what's going on, man? It's divisional round, man. I'm excited. I'm excited for this weekend. Old school 49ers, Cowboys. Let's go.
I remember this rivalry. It kind of gets me excited about the fact that it swings me back. Of course, we're going to go old Cowboys, and people are like, oh, they're just living in the 90s. But when I think back to the Cowboys, of course, battling, I think of the 49ers. And yes, the 49ers may have gone to one Super Bowl in there because, the battle. But still, they had their time before that with Joe Montana and everything like that. So there is a lot of history when it comes to these two teams. Not recently, but now with the past year and now this year, there's a rivalry to get to the next round. This is becoming something again, and it's nice to get this excitement, especially the trash talking. Both sides are definitely confident going into the matchup this weekend. How confident are you, Bryan, going into this matchup?
As the week is getting near, the game is getting near, as the week of it's a short week for us. As it goes by, I'm getting more and more confident. The more people I listen to that I trust, I'm getting more and more confident. At the end of the day, we're playing a very talented team in their place.
That's correct.
I think that our team is in a headspace that I haven't seen in a long time. So you brought up the 90s, and it's sad that we got to go back that far. Even though we've won a playoff game a few years ago in Seattle, this is a totally different feel to me. This is I have confidence. How the heck I had this kind of confidence? I kind of bring it to the Eagles a couple years ago. I think it's 4 years ago now. Did they won a Super Bowl? You got confidence. They had a backup quarterback. They were a wild card team. They were a good team, but they didn't win the division. I feel like we're getting that kind of confidence. These guys are playing with a lot of confidence, and I'm excited. We'll get to it. I'm feeling pretty good.
How's the volume now, guys?
How about you?
I'm just making sure that I'm good with the volume. I'm trying to bring it down.
You're good, man. You're good.
No, I had a couple of guys saying that I wasn't, so I just want to make sure. I'm a little loud. Let me bring this down. I'm going to get a couple of different options here. See, hopefully this helps.
Oh, yeah. It says my volume's the same. It's still operating the volume.
Yeah. So, anyways, as we go forward into this game,
loud. I don't understand why.
I don't either.
We're going to break down all the games, too, here by the end of the show. We'll do the final score, but how's that sound, everybody? Okay. Rhonda says it sounds great. So
okay,
good.
Cool.
So whatever you did seems to work.
Yeah, I changed down some volumes here.
For the games.
Yeah, I know going in earlier in the week, if I was going to bet my mortgage on this game, I would have definitely probably sided more over to San Francisco. But when I feel that what this team is doing, I was kind of, okay, you know what? I was like you. I got more confidence in here. I know that they're focused compared to last year where they just tried to switch up their whole game and become a physical team when they weren't a physical team. They just tried to be something that they were not. And this year, there is no mistaken identity. We know who this team is. They knew who they are. And it's just putting it out there, making talent go against talent and seeing who overcomes who, All right, good. Sounds good.
Mary Alvarez, I'm doing great. And Phil, I assume you're doing good?
Doing good, man. Friday. Oh, my gosh, yes. Good. Yes, us. I want to start with the offense. How about that? Let's start with the offense because, there's so many things to break down in this actual game. Whether you're talking about San Francisco's team or you're talking about our team, there's a lot there. There's a lot of stuff that's, in the background where people don't see. It's kind of hidden.
Yeah.
But let's talk first about the quarterback position. Dak Prescott. To me, it's going to determine a lot on what Dak Prescott does in this game. that'll determine on how the Cowboys are seen. I mean, this is kind of the put it on Dak's shoulders kind of playoff because everybody's seeing what he's going. There's nobody else blaming. Oh well, Zeke is not the. No, it's always Dak in the conversations. He's the one that they if they failed, they're going to point at him. They think about the last play where he ran, it was on him. The interceptions, that's on him. It's like everything automatically.
With the quarterback position, you know that, Phil. It's like.
It's true. Look on the other side.
It works. It's 11 guys that need to come together. But this offense, just to take it back. We played the Niners last year. We weren't the same team as we were this year.
Mm-hmm.
We're way tougher. We addressed certain spots. We don't have Randy Gregory to have 3 penalties for offsides and another one for unsportsmanlike.
Shucks.
It's just a totally different team. We don't have Amari Cooper. I get it. But we have CeeDee Lamb, who was emerging with over 1,300 yards in the regulars. Not to mention what he did last week.
Right. Well, let me post you back towards the quarterback here, because when we're talking about the quarterbacks and how Dak is, because to me, the running game, I mean, that defense for San Francisco has an amazing defensive line and amazing linebackers. So if you can run the ball, that's going to be amazing to do. But I don't think that's going to be their main focus. And if it is, I don't think that's the best game plan going into this game. Obviously, it's going to be a lot on Dak. I don't want to see 40, 50 times throwing type of Dak. Any kind of situation where you're putting your quarterback in those numbers, it's not going to be good, especially with the defense that can get to the quarterback, has given people problems. It's the secondary that we know is the weakness in this team. So, again, going to have to come back on Dak. But when you go on to the other side, you're talking about, Bryan, how the quarterback is always the first person that gets blamed. Well, guess what? On the San Francisco side, that's the person that's getting most of the praise. Even though that defense is right there and keeping them in games, the quarterback, Mr. Irrelevant, is actually the one that's in the news. So what do you think about Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy?
He's played great. I mean, there's nothing, to say negative about the guy. He was a winner in college. You see by how Iowa State is playing now, or finished up, this year. He had a winning record in all 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's a winning quarterback. Now he's a rookie, and that's where we need to take advantage.
Correct.
We're getting into the offenses. I mean, we can definitely take advantage of the 49er defense. Jimmy Ward, their nickelback, so at best, and Tafunga, who is their safety, very mediocre. It's a big opportunity for our tight ends to make plays. It just is the way the Niners rush the passer. They are just hell bent on coming after the QB.
Yeah.
Usually undisciplined, Phil. Usually they don't stay in their lanes. Bosa just wants to come at you, and I think we could take advantage. Some quick hit and draw plays. And I know we don't do this a lot, but I think we're going to have to do some more screen. I think we're going to have to add the screenplay. I think that'll be very, very successful. The Niners can get a lot of pressure, but there
are ways to counter it.
Open up a lot of holes.
Yeah.
They're not very disciplined in their run lanes, and we need to take advantage of that.
So I think Glimmerman,
Tony Pollard did not play at all hardly in last year's game. Feature Tony Pollard a lot.
Well, I mean, I'm right there. We're going to jump into Glimmerman's comment here where he says, Dak needs to throw 30 times or under in Elliott's time to shine and Pollard. Establish a run and play action. You're right there. I think that's where this is the time where why have we been keeping Zeke around? This is that moment. I'm not saying that he's going to bust stuff up, and this is the physical part that you need. You need a physical running back that's going to wear this defensive front out and it's going to run these linebackers out because this is a great defensive line, and it's a great linebacking core. That's one thing that they have. Their strength is definitely that. Their secondary. Now, if you look at the secondary when it comes to this is what I'm talking about, that combination, and where he's right. You're having to set up this play action because when you look at the San Francisco 49ers defense in the past 6 games, who have they played? There's been like teams that have Oakland where they have a third-string quarterback. You have Wentz. You have Heineke. You have both of those kind of quarterbacks were going in at the time, but you've had these quarterbacks that haven't been amazing, and what happens when you have a Dak that is? Now, we're talking about the same deck that gives you the Washington game and then turns around and gives you a great performance in the playoffs. So which ones are going to show up? This is what we've been talking about all season, the inconsistencies of this team. And as long as they can string it together, because we've seen them put it together for 4 games, and that's what they need to do. You already got 1 under your belt, 3 more. And I think, we pointed out inside the chat here, but we've been saying it as well. This is the revenge tour, and as much as some people don't want this matchup, it's something that this team needs to have. This is the way that you develop your young guys, is to put them in big games and big situations, because having the easiest path doesn't make you a champion. People remember the path. I mean, when I think about the Dallas Cowboys for the 90s, what's the first game I think of? It's definitely not the Super Bowl. It's that San Francisco game where, Dallas had not been able to get over that hump, and then they go to Candlestick Park and they take care of business. So, I mean, that's what I remember there. So I really want to see this team get put together. So when we're talking about the running backs, do you think Davis is another one? I think Davis's fresh legs could be a nice addition to this. What do you think about Pollard? How do you think they can use Pollard within this defense?
Yeah, now Pollard is going to he's going to be the guy that's going to, he hits the hole.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're going to need. You're going to need to take advantage of the undisciplined rush. So Pollard will get the ball. I think they're going to feature him a lot. Like I said, he hardly played in last year's game.
Mm-hmm.
Zeke will be the guy once we have a lead in the second half or any goal line situations. That's what he's going to do. I want to see Pollard get the ball via the screen pass. I think it's very important this week to move Dalton Schultz around. Because how the Niners play their defense, they leave little holes, but you have to create things. So if you move Dalton Schultz, you send him on one side of the field, that's going to open up a running lane to the other side. Just from what I'm gathering and hearing people that I trust, they want to move the tight ends away to one side and run like the quick or the draw to the other side. That's what they need to do. Look for Pollard to have a big game. I'm telling you, look for Pollard to have a big time game. Dalton Schultz too.
I think so too.
That could be had.
That's the next level I want to go to.
Rush the passer. I know they do.
Yeah. But you got some weapons. You have weapons everywhere. You have exactly what you're talking about. We're going to go to that next level. The tight ends. The great group of tight ends. You saw Dalton Schultz do Dalton and Dak things. I mean, it's not surprising. It's just when we get frustrated with him at times. And then when we get frustrated, he doesn't want to do any interviews. And, he gets, whatever. Getting your own feelings. If he wants to get
franchise, he's not happy.
Well, if he uses that as motivation, that people are, I want to see him destroy defenses, and that's the reason why I think him and Dak obviously have that connection. And then you put Jake Ferguson. Oh, I love Jake Ferguson. And then Hendershot, that wiry guy. It's a great route. You can't forget like McEwen, and is that right? Yeah. And
yeah. Well, he's a good blocker.
He's a good blocker.
We're very deep in the tight end.
And that's something that we have had problems.
That's the thing. We're just deep everywhere. We may not, listen, since Dak's returned from injuries, he's averaging over 30 points. I mean, yeah, he had a horrible game in Washington. It is what it is, man. And it's not easy winning 12 games with a first place schedule. That's what we talked about. Oh, they won 12 last year and 12 this year. Yeah, I understand. We had a first place schedule. I just think we need to be creative. And move our guys around and counter off of that. Expect, just like last week, you saw the first couple series. It was kind of rough. We just got to make sure that we stay in the game.
Yeah.
Because I have good faith that,
that's the part.
Close. I mean, Brock Purdy did not have a great game in the first half. That game got out of control.
And it wasn't against a great team. Obviously it's a division game, so division games are always going to be like that. But again, none of that team was great. It wasn't elite. You don't look at Seattle and go, "Oh yeah, they have in the top 10." In the top, no, nobody. You don't think of a single person other than maybe Pete Carroll, and he's coaching. And I wouldn't even put him on the top 10. So, I mean, when you look at this team, we definitely have the talent to attack them. It's just the problem is that a lot of offenses that go against San Francisco kind of fall into their trap of what their strengths are. They start trying to have to come from behind because they don't stick to their game plan, and then all of a sudden that defense is like our defense where they were pinning their ears back and just going for the quarterback. So I think Bryan hits the nail on the head when he talks about they use stunts, they use all these things, so they open up a lot of holes. You just need to be able to take advantage of that. And I think we have a great line that was doing a very good job last week. It wasn't like it was a bad defensive line that they were going against. They were a really good defensive line and good linebackers. So you got yourself ready for this next upcoming game. So I love the matchup. I think it's on both sides. I mean, you can walk away with this victory knowing that you beat a good team.
If you heard Parsons talk, this is what he wanted. Anybody that's real wants to have revenge of what happened last year, regardless of what happens. Everybody's looking for the easy way. There is no easy way. This is the playoffs. You have to go through the best teams. I called it a month ago, when we were talking, or longer than that now. I told Philly 500 that we're going to see them for a third time. Now, we'll get into the Giants-Eagles game in a little bit and give our opinions. But I just had a feeling early on that we were going to play the Eagles a third time. I see a championship game in Philadelphia. As much as I would like to have a home game, I mean, we'll get into it, and anything can happen. But I just feel like it's something different. I don't know. I have to talk to Mark. I had some. I brought up Stewart's name behind me the other day, and a couple things happened in my house. It was absolutely freaky. My wife looked at me and like, "Are you kidding me?" But yeah, it was. I wish I had a camera going. It was crazy. But as long as we're still in it, that was his last dying wish. Me and Mark and a group of people went up to
I tried to
Dallas
adjust it
and helped his family, and he had two wishes: one, to make sure his mother's house was taken care of, and two, that the Dallas Cowboys won a Super Bowl.
See,
that's still on the table.
So I like the fact
that should go.
Yeah, I like the fact that Mark and Bryan are fulfilling those things. So now I think you just need Jerry Jones to step up and go ahead and induct Jimmy Johnson into the Ring of Honor there that they have, and let's get the next step
about that.
Yeah.
I don't know how fast they could put that together, but God forbid if the Eagles didn't get the job done and we were hosting the Giants next week. Could you imagine? Before the game or halftime, could you imagine? I would rather do it before the game. I don't know how they would do that, but you put him in the Ring of Honor. Mm-hmm. How hard can that be? Can't be that hard, right?
No. Not when you got a stadium like that.
Pelica, how are you?
Yeah, so let's go into the next matchup. I mean, we're talking about tight ends. We're talking about now. Let's go to these receivers. We're going to go back into the offensive line because we're going to switch to the defensive line by that point. But receivers, you've been talking about how CeeDee Lamb has stepped up this year. I think another combination is that if you have Gallup, you have a T.Y. Hilton that's come in and definitely gotten some some continuity when it comes to Dak and those first downs. Obviously, early in last game, we saw some drops early by CD. We saw some drop by T.Y. Hilton, and that's what we're talking about. This is the part of the Dallas Cowboys that really concern me is that slow start. The ones that when your quarterback is finally on, you're not catching him. When your line is not blocking.
Slow start. What do you mean?
I'm talking about the 3 and outs. I mean, I hate seeing this thing 3 and out and another 3 and out. A good team scores.
Defense. You're gonna have some 3 and
again,
outs, like last week. It's gonna take you some time.
But yeah, if they do what they did last week, for example, and you actually have an offense that can score, whether it's a touchdown or something, you can this team. I will admit that they don't freak out about being behind, and they continue to just kind of chip away at the lead. But I worry as a fan because you see him get behind. You're like, okay, it just sometimes, and then you'll see little mistakes like Turpin doing a fumble, or just your punter all of a sudden nowhere fumbling it, or it's always something really small. And then those small things, it's just like a snowball effect. It just kind of rolls, and then by the time you know it's out of control and halftime comes, you're like, okay, let's reset. Yeah,
this is going to be a close game. As much, this is how I feel about this game. I feel as though if anybody's going to blow anybody out, it's going to be us blowing them out. I know that sounds crazy, but I just think we're ready to roll. Can the Niners win? Yes. Can the Niners get up on us a little bit? Yeah, and that's not what you want. We're going to have a lot of Cowboys fans in that stadium. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored. So as much as you can make plays, I think whoever wins the turnover battle and converts touchdowns as opposed to field goals. It's easy to say, but I think it comes down to that. I think if we can, create some turnovers, could you imagine, when I was kind of, I mean, like if you're Brock Purdy and you're down 10-0, into the Cowboys in the divisional game, come on now, and we're now all of a sudden we're making you a little bit more pass happy. That could be. That's the recipe. So you're right. We need to get out to a good start. Sometimes that's easier said than done. I kind of wish that we lose the toss, or that we win the toss and we defer. This is one of those games. I want to put Purdy out on the field, early.
Yes, I agree.
I
definitely agree. We've seen what this offense for San Francisco can do, and so they definitely have weapons. You got McCaffrey, which I said as soon as that move was done that that's a great move on their part, because I mean he still had a lot left. I mean, it was just his whole thing that circled around him was the fact that he just got injured a lot. And so the physical game, I don't wish injuries upon anybody, and that's definitely something I don't want. But again, this defense does have the ability to really blow up running backs. Obviously, we've had our chances in the running game, our problems in the running game, but when they do get a hit on them, I mean, they're pretty hard. So, there could get pretty physical out there, and so that's what then you got a Deebo
Samuel said he was sore for 2 weeks after the game last year. It's going to be a very physical game. So, like Brooklyn Joe says, San Francisco does short passes and screens, got a tackle to win this one. Yeah, tackling is going to be very key. I ask you people, what's more important? Tackling? Obviously, you want to do it all. But if you had a choice to either tackle well on defense or have your offensive line protect really good and be able to run the ball and keep them off of Dak. If I had to choose, in order for us to have a chance in this game, Dak needs time.
Yeah,
he's going to need to run.
Definitely,
because they will get pressure and they will be undisciplined.
There's going to be some sacks
in that defense.
That defense is too good to and so they're going to have their moments.
You can't have it all.
No.
And
that's where a lot of people.
We want it all.
Yeah, that's where a lot of people tend to complain. I mean, you get guys like Kurt Warner talking about the quarterbacks, and you throw an interception because you're trying to get it down the field. I don't mind that, because if you're going to balance the great plays compared to the one bad play, I mean, I love those odds. But you have a whole bunch of Cowboy Nation that just they jump on that one interception and then they just linger on it, and that's what they're focused on. Even with the 40-point, 40 burger or whatever, Dak threw that one in it. Well, Dak was balling. How about that? Dak was going out there and he was slinging the ball. He was trying. He didn't worry. I better not throw this. He's not tippy-toeing. I don't want my quarterback tippy-toeing. I want him to hit the holes like some of these guys are talking about. Glimmerman's pointing out that if you get Dak with his legs, I mean, that's dangerous. We've seen what the NFC East in general with their quarterbacks when they start running. So this is a tough division all around, and so the quarterback running is definitely big in every single one of those teams, and Dak is no exceptions. I mean, I'm just glad that he feels comfortable to be able to do all this stuff, and you do have those guys that, like Tyler Smith. I know we're giving him crap here and there, but he's been doing an amazing job with the blocking. He's had to go back and forth. He's like any rookie, you're going to eventually hit that rookie wall, but it feels like he's gotten a second wind. What do you think about this offensive line matchup? Obviously you're not going to have Jason Peters in there. I'm not too worried about that in that sense.
Peters is out.
Yeah. But what do you think about the rest of the offensive line? How do you think they will stack up
I think
against?
we're fine. They have a great D-line. This is how I compare it, okay? We've played the Eagles twice this year, right? I think the Eagles have a better overall defense.
I was going to say
the 49ers.
Maybe they
and we put up how many points? Now, I would say that the defensive line of the Eagles and the 49ers, we could say are comparable, right? I mean, I would say that's fair. But the Eagles' secondary is far and away better than the 49ers. And with our starting quarterback, we put up 30 points. Okay? Expect us to score a lot of points. Okay? I'm telling you, that's why I tell you, we're going to score 30. You could put it in, you could stick it in that, like in your back pocket now. We're going to score 30. Now, are we going to be able to stop the Niners? That's to me what it comes down to. But
Yeah,
we've
because they got
already
weapons.
faced a better defense, as far as I'm concerned. We can throw against the Niners.
Yeah,
They can get to the quarterback,
but we're
but
gonna
they
do.
also leave stuff open, which is why you got to put people in motion and do what I say.
Yeah,
Almost how they play Parsons. You know how like a lot of teams are playing Parsons?
Mm-hmm.
And FYI, what I would do, I would line Parsons up against Trent Williams early in the game. And if he beats him, like I know he can, I know Trent Williams is good, that's going to send a message right away because they're not going to give Trent Williams any help. It's going to be one-on-one. And when he beats Trent and he sacks Purdy or he forces Purdy into something, that's going to send a message. I want to see that early in the game. We could worry about McGlinchey on the other side. I get it. He's a little bit weaker. But I think this is a game where best on best at times, and let's see what happens. I'm ready to roll now, and it's only Friday, so we got 2 more days. A shout out to the 25 people in the chat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what's everybody think? I mean, this defense doesn't scare me.
Like they're
Like
good
I
defense.
always said.
When they went down with quarterbacks, when they went down on their quarterbacks, and I say quarterbacks because there was more than one that they had to. They were throwing everything out there. I was saying they don't even need a quarterback. They just needed to run the Wildcat for the rest of the year, and they would still be successful because why? They had a defense to rely on. A lot like the Dallas Cowboys defense in the beginning of the season where we had a Cooper Rush in the game. Were we just winning games because Cooper Rush was slinging it everywhere? No, it was because this defense was getting after the ball. 5 to 6 sacks a game with 3 to 4 picks, and they were balling. And so obviously you have a lot of the guys that got hurt and they're out, and so you don't have that same chemistry. But Dan Quinn, you got to give them credit. They have been putting people in there that get the job done. And yes, towards the end of the season, we had to deal with the experiments, and they kind of worried us a bit. But I love the fact that that Mukuamu came in. Now, Mukuamu had the hamstring. Have you heard if he's practicing?
Yeah, no, he's practiced full the last 2 days. It was a tweak in the game. The only injuries that you need to worry about is Jason Peters, he's out, and Jaron Curse has been limping around the star. But they're saying he's going to play. Just like, remember, he tweaked his knee a couple weeks ago. So keep an eye on that one. You might see more Donovan Wilson type of deal, but he's going to play. He said he's been circling the Niners all year, and now all of a sudden, lo and behold, we're playing the Niners. Mm-hmm. The revenge tour continues. I expect him to play, but he is limping around a little bit, but he's done that before. So, what's up? I love weed. Queen Bella, welcome in, welcome to the show. Yeah, so that's where I am. With that's the only injuries. I'll be curious to see who they deactivate. And remember last week, with all the changes on defense, I wonder if they go a little bigger on the line. Maybe not start. What's his name? That was slow-footed Xavier Rhodes.
Oh, okay. You're talking about the other one?
I don't know.
You're talking about Mackenzie Alexander?
Yeah. No, I think they might go with maybe Nashawn Wright. Yeah, I don't know, but I don't know that they go Rhodes. It'll be curious to see. I mean, do they go Bohanna? Do they go Neville Gallimore? Just because the 49ers, they run.
Yep.
They run a lot, so you might need a little bit more beef. Add another guy to that mix. I don't know. It'll be curious to see. So. Yeah,
when we're definitely talking about this team and stopping the run, we got to talk about our defense and how last week who's our leader? Of course, Micah Parsons had talked about going against Tom Brady, having this whole matchup, and they delivered. Obviously you hear some talk, and the talk is different. The talk is how focused they are, and I think that's what gives me the confidence is the fact that last year was kind of just like, hey, it felt like they were more happy to just be there. And so they kind of, got outmatched and they realized that it just wasn't going to be handed to you. So this team obviously goes into this game. People were picking, of course, Tampa Bay, even though Tampa Bay, again, was just the division winner, and that's the reason why they snuck in. And so, I mean, this team was a team that you could beat, and they went ahead and handled business. And so they were very focused going into it. They knew what they had to do, put pressure up in the middle with Tom Brady to get him rattled. And I think that's where Glimmerman's pointing out is the fact that if you get this to this kid very quickly, whether you're giving him hits, whether you're giving him something, you can shake him up. I mean, the rookies are still rookies, and at some point, things get real. I think that's the biggest thing I can say is what happens when the quicksand happens? What happens when you turn it over and then all of a sudden another turnover? Are you a guy that can keep your composure and kind of step out of it? Or are you a guy that just, the moment's too big for you under your rookie year? So, I mean, he's done a great job so far. Again, I'm not going to take away from what he's done. But at the same time, I look at the defense that he's gone against, and they haven't been top. So,
what's up, Jeff Lee?
So, again, I'm impressed by what he does because it's not easy. It's an NFL job. It's not easy to lead a team, whether it's, in general, whether it's high school, whether it's college. To lead that team, whether they have a good defense, you still got to be making the plays. And so he's been doing a really good job with his throws. But again, I want to see what happens when you got a defense that can get after the quarterback and he's having to move from his spots and he's no longer comfortable. Now, where's his biggest weapon that he have? Of course, you're talking about Christian McCaffrey. We also talk about Deebo Samuel. We know, that guy is a beast, and he can.
Yeah, that's the guy who's, to me, is tough to stop.
That's true.
I understand Christian McCaffrey's on a roll since the trade. He is a beast, but Deebo is just a physical. You got to make sure he don't get the ball.
Mm-hmm.
We got our hands full. On offense, they are loaded, they're stacked. Their best receiver, Ayuk. I mean, they have arguably one of the best tight ends, and they got Christian McCaffrey. They got a good offensive line. I mean, they could put up some points, but I think they could be had, man. I just think that we're on a roll, and
just remember though,
it's going to be back and forth. I think.
Remember the narrative though, Cowboy Nation, is that okay, let's say we handle business. Let's say we're able to put some points on against that very good defense. Let's say we're able to get Brock Purdy to be a rookie again, and we stop the run. Let's say we pull away this thing. The narrative on Monday is obviously going to be you just beat a 7th round QB. So don't get too excited, Cowboy Nation. So no matter what, they keep
with
pushing
that all year. Right? We've
yes.
been the underdog all year. The Eagles were the best team since day one. Now, credit to them; they had the best record, right? But we haven't been the favorite all year.
Nope.
Everybody's been crapping on the Cowboys. Good, keep crapping on us. Keep going. 3 more weeks.
So as we go into the next one, of course, we're talking about our defense. We're talking about Micah Parsons getting this team hungry for this game. We're talking about the possibility of a guy like Bohanna that's going to be coming back. Maybe do you think
Gallimore? Who they're
Gallimore?
going to bring up, but I think it's just real important for us to get to the Purdy with our front four. Don't blitz that much. Obviously, throw in Dan Quinn's real good with the corner blitz out of nowhere off the blind side. Do that occasionally, but if we can get there with 4. Man, that's going to be huge, and I think we can,
job,
man.
Randy.
I really do. I think we always say it, but I think D-Law is going to be huge because I think the Parsons is going to have an impact.
Yeah, I agree too.
Every throw from Brady, 99% of the throws last week were contested. That doesn't mean it's going to be a sack, but a contested throw. Make Purdy have a contested after contested throw, which means you got to get off your spot. You can't step up. That's what we got to worry about. Let him have to deal with a contested, just contest everything. Be able to drop guys in coverage. Man, I'm telling you, we could have some big success. We'll see, but D-Law needs to have a good game. And in order for us to win,
he did pretty good.
Parsons.
Yeah, he did pretty good last week. He wasn't a part of every single play, but he was getting in there. He was around the ball.
Yeah.
And so he was making, people kind of go another way to get another people to get the tackle. So I want to see that part. I still want to see some plays being made by him. I want to see something. And he will. He'll whip out something out of nowhere, and that's what I love about D-Law is that he's also a leader. When he's not doing all that stuff, he's giving high fives on the sideline. He's doing all that stuff, getting people pumped up. Just like Jaron Kearse, you saw him last week. Hey guys, they're trying to get us cold. Just keep stretching. I love Jaron Kearse and that whole style that swagger that he's brought to this defense. I think the biggest person that you got to talk about, and is who I want to talk about in this next level, is the coaching staff. Dan Quinn obviously brings a toughness to this defense that we just didn't have before. The defense was kind of really definitely the weakness within this team, and Dan Quinn's definitely changed a lot with being able to pick the guys that he wants to bring in. Now, when we're talking about, of course, our offense, Kellen Moore, he's been doing well. Can't take nothing away. Mike McCarthy, but I also give on the other side Kyle Shanahan. Man, there's a lot of good coaching in this team.
Yeah, like Shanahan and Quinn know each other. They were on the same team. You know, Dan Quinn was the head coach, and Shanahan was his offensive coordinator. They battle in practice all the time. It's going to be who's going to make adjustments. You know, I really think we're in a good position, man. I think the momentum, the revenge factor, the taste in the mouth, like Jerry Jones made like a good point. He goes, we've had the talent, but it's getting our players the taste almost like a hunting dog, you know, get a little taste of the blood, and then you just want it over and over. They just went out, and, you know, you could say whatever you want about Tampa Bay. They beat a guy who was basically mocking them earlier in the week on the sideline, Mike Evans, saying, what's your record against Dallas? This and that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Brady has owned Cowboys. Say what you want. It's not easy doing that. Up until kickoff, most people were picking the Bucs, regardless of their record. Now, their last game to go into the playoffs, they looked great. You know, we looked like ass. But, you know, we're not going to get any respect, but we slayed that dragon. Now, Micah Parsons is saying he don't want anybody else but the Niners. That's the three-headed monster. We're going to take one of the heads off. Let's let the cards fall where they may, but I like where this team's headspace is at, man, and that's what's giving me confidence. So anything can happen, but I'm confident.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great matchup. And as you're talking about headspace, let's jump as well, because I'm going to jump onto these things as we keying these things together. And we're talking about headspace. Where do you think the headspace of Money Maher is? I mean, this week he's had to take some kicks. You know, yes, you don't bring a guy in, you bring him into the practice squad, but he still went perfect.
Weird things happen. Weird things happen, Phil. He's been money all year. Okay, he made 4 50-yard field goals, including a 59-yard field goal in one game. Okay, I'm rolling with him. You know, he's been making everything. Yeah, they moved over to the grass field. Normally they kick off at the turf field, in high winds, and he went 6 for 6. The other guy they picked up went like 3 for 5 or something. That's 2. Listen, man, you got to go with the guy. You know, if he comes out and he misses his first extra point, then you got to maybe start going for 2. But I'm giving him the opportunity. Yeah, I'm good with Maher, and stay tuned for the prediction. He does have a say in what happens.
Yeah, so I mean, special teams is definitely going to need to be a play, because obviously we're talking about a great defense that this Cowboys team is going to have to go against, and field position is a big key. I mean, if Turpin can finally do something other than talk on the sideline, that would be nice. If he can run his legs like he runs his mouth on the sideline, we would be great with field position. So I'm not expecting anything from him. I'm just expecting him to help us, and that's what I want everybody to do. I mean, I want the kicker to help us. I want everybody to just do their job, and I think that's if you get in there and you can focus on your job and you can just take care of your man, take care of your zone. This team has the talent to be able to beat this 49ers team. Obviously, again, it's going to rest a lot on Dak, because they have a very good defensive line. That's going to we've been saying it, that they're gonna give us some heck when it comes to the running game, and so we're going to be able to pop some. That's where I think Brian's right. I mean, Pollard, if you can get Zeke popping in there early with maybe Davis combo, and then kind of following it up with Pollard. I know a lot of people would want to put Pollard in there quick. I just don't want, with the physicality, I don't want him to get a straight shot. I want them to be just a little tired. Whether you're doing stuff, whether you're making them run because you're throwing. Again, when you're doing the screens, I don't want the screens negative. I want the screens 5 yards downfield, man. Quit doing that sideline stuff, because it doesn't work.
We got a Niner in here. Shout out to Bebop Jones. Thanks for
representing
joining in.
Yeah, definitely.
Go Niners, #1 defense. Listen, I'm just excited. I live near Philly, and it's all, nobody's giving. Now it's, nobody's giving the Eagles any credit. The Eagles are, we're going to show everybody. Everybody's talking about the Niners and Cowboys. Unfortunately, that's how it is. I mean, Dallas Cowboys, love them or hate them, they get the most ratings by, it's not even close. The the Monday night game set all kinds of records, against Tampa. It'll be a good game. I'm just happy that the Niners are good and the Cowboys are good, and we're playing a meaningful game. I think we're going to win. You guys are the favorite, so we shall see. But thanks for joining the chat.
Yeah,
and Flo says, I think the field just got into his head from the pregame. You watch Anger's interview. He talks about the issues with Tampa's field. Tampa's field was horrendous.
Mm-hmm.
They had to replace the whole middle part of the field, and anything outside of the hashes was ass. If you saw them like sliding all game, didn't matter what side, because they had the high cleats on. There's not much you could do, and it's one of those deals where once it's in your head, and you know how kickers are. Once it's in your head, that's a wrap for that day. So let's hope that they're playing. If it was old Candlestick, I would be a little worried. But this field has good drainage and is a lot better. It's still grass. It's going to be windy. Always is in Frisco. Should be interesting. But I'm sticking with Maher. But yeah, nice comment there, Flo.
Yeah. So when so many things that this team did last week, I had not seen. There was some definitely, like, whether you're talking about even a defensive guy, one single person, Israel Mukwamu, who we all know can play.
Izzy, man.
Yeah, who we all know that can play corner.
The missing link.
Hadn't played corner all year, so for them to throw that in there.
Stashing him.
Yes. And that's what I'm saying. Even within this offense, they were doing a little bit of stuff. It wasn't a whole lot, but they were doing a little bit of stuff that they hadn't done all year, and so that's what you need to do.
Well, Izzy, he went to South Carolina. I believe that was. He played opposite of Sauce Gardner. Through his whole college career. So it's not. It's not as though that's what he played. He wasn't a safety in college. It's just how Dallas is. They want to bring you in. Oh, well, you're going to play safety because you're this, you're that. He's 6'4". If he turns into something, watch out.
Ruben,
watch out. Mark Hutchin, look for a special teams to do something big. I ain't saying it, Mark. I ain't saying it, but I know what you think.
Yeah. We all know. We just.
We have an advantage on special teams too. We just gotta take advantage of it. I like it though. What's up, Ruben Walls?
Ruben, how's it going, man?
Shout out to the 40 people, man. I really appreciate everybody
that,
joining
man.
in. I want to hear from some more.
What do you guys think? You guys, if there's some Niner
cool
people
guys here.
Yeah,
Come on, bring it. Let's see what you got.
We understand what you guys have.
I want to know what from the Niners' perspective. What do you guys? Do you respect us at all? Are you leery about anything? What do you think? Right? What do you think? You almost lost to the Raiders in overtime against the backup quarterback. I sure hope that team don't show up for you guys. So I'm curious. Let me know.
We have our moments too, and that's why we emphasize, because that this team, that we have our two-headed monster in the sense of, whether you take a position. Let's take Dak. Sometimes he's off that Washington game. Other times for more than anything, he's been on than he has been off. So I cannot. Right. But you still have that. You have the inconsistency sometimes within the line of not being able to get those blocks. Maybe some inconsistencies on the catching. And then inconsistencies of how we start off, whether it's fast, whether it's slow, whether it's all over the place. The one thing that I will point out that one of the people on the chat did mention was that last year, I think it might have been Randy, but that last year there was a lot of penalties that this team had to overcome within that San Francisco game. So that was a big problem going into the playoffs, and we knew it. We complained about it every single week. We talked about how the offense could not move. We had our problems on the offensive line where we couldn't run the ball. So there was a lot of problems going into that game, and then we didn't have that confidence going into it. This is a different scenario. This is a different team.
Exactly, Phil. It's a different scenario. This team has confidence. Shout out to Jack Scott. He's my buddy. Look to two great defenses. Purdy will come back to earth under the pressure, not looking ahead as an Eagles fan, but I see 1980 championship all over again. Welcome to the show, Jack. Being Phil,
welcome.
You touched on this earlier. I called a rematch of the 1980 championship game like a month ago. I could feel it, and I brought up your Eagle run.
And I brought it up in the
5 years.
I brought it up in the.
I feel like we're on a roll.
Yeah, I brought it up in the first matchup,
and we're gonna. It's gonna hit. The rubber's gonna meet the. It's gonna happen.
And that's the
No,
truth. I love
hope
weed.
that.
He says 49er fans have been talking a lot of smack. There hasn't been a lot of them. There has been a lot. There was a guy on the TikTok thing kind of walking. He's like, when's the last time Cowboys won a Super Bowl? I'll wait. And it's like, yeah, after you did, dude. Like, what are you talking about? That's
Listen,
why I'm like, think about the trash talking
the
before you
Niners
talk.
fans are the type of people who lay in the weeds. I mean,
They got a
listen, you can say
team.
what
They
you
got a
want.
team. I like
The Cowboys fans are out.
There's a lot of
outspoken,
annoying ones,
but the
too.
Niners haven't done squat really since Mighty Wings. Joe Flacco beat them in the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
Yeah, Colin Kaepernick. I mean, they haven't really done much. They just haven't. We all thought they were left for dead, and all of a sudden Brock Purdy, it comes out of nowhere. Shout out to the Niners. They've won 11 in a row.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We don't have an easy task ahead.
But that's also something that goes against them. I mean, obviously, the momentum and everything, but that many wins in a row, we talked about how winning streaks do matter. Going into the playoffs, if you can reset that clock and let it go again, I mean, I know it's a stupid little stat thing, but it does have some weight to it. Now, Mark Hutchinson says you have to stop Bosa. There is no stopping Bosa. You have to slow him down.
We're not stopping him. Ruben needs a wrench too. Yeah, we're not stopping Bosa. But what Bosa does do, and he gets to the quarterback, but he gets undisciplined at times. But I think we played a better defense in the Eagles. The Eagles secondary is way better than the 49ers secondary. That's a weakness. Their safety is a weakness. Jimmy Ward is a weakness. I've already broke it down. We need to move our tight ends, and we need, movement and run on the opposite way. Bosa's he's great, but he's undisciplined. He will leave. He will go just to get that sack, and that's great. He's going to make a couple plays. Just hope we don't turn the ball over on those plays. That's what's going to happen. Mark Hutchins, the Niners do have a weakness. It's their defensive secondary. It's average at best. We need to take advantage of it, and we need to do things that I explained earlier in the show by creating little openings in the defense. To me, a good offense is our defense. Keep that offense on the sidelines in the Niners.
Mm-hmm.
Put up some points and make them more one-dimensional, because once they can run the ball, they even got Kyle Juszczyk, who I love. They're one of the only teams who still use their tight end. He's a guy that could have a big game. You can't stop everything, but if you get up big enough, then
you could change there. You can make them change it and be effective in different ways. Yeah, I definitely agree. You saw that again with the Buccaneers. I'm not saying they had the most amazing running game, but they were literally putting Fournette on the side to save him for later, and then they couldn't use him later because the game plan changed. So,
is Twiz in the house?
Twiz.
There he is.
Yes, I have to, man. I respect
There's my
it.
Eagle fan. Yo, you got your hands full with the Giants, but we're going to touch on that game shortly.
Well, let's talk about those matchups. Let's talk about those matchups, because we talked a lot about the Cowboys and the 49ers, and obviously we'll get back to them as we kind of finish it out.
I want to touch on something real quick on the Dallas game. We'll wrap up the Dallas. Basically, we talked a lot about what we think, offense, defense. Bill Vinovich is the lead official. I always like to bring up the officials. Bill Vinovich, it's like always an all-star crew, but he's the main guy. Mm-hmm. His crew does not call penalties. So is that good for Dallas or bad for Dallas?
We'll see.
I'm just curious. I think that's good, but as far as the holding, they may hold Parsons like everybody else does and not get called, but maybe we can get away with holding with Bosa, slowing him down a little bit. But his crew does not call a lot of penalties, and I'd rather have a game where they let the players play as opposed to flag. The worst thing I hate, unless it's unbelievably egregious when they pull somebody down, is when they give somebody a pass interference play 40 yards down the field when it was minor contact. Let them play on both sides. I don't care. I don't want any penalties. Don't call any penalties. I like that, man. I don't know how you feel about that, Phil, but I like that. No penalties, please.
Yeah, I'm up for that. We talked about what was it? Whose son? Head Hockey's son, and how they love to be. Yeah, they love to be on TV, and so you saw it very early within that game. So obviously you're going to have your moments where this is playoff football. I'm okay with the battling. I want to see the game kind of flow without the referees getting too involved, but obviously you have certain situations where, your defensive ends can get up the field. Bosa, when you're looking at that. When you're looking at Parsons on the other side, Parsons gets held all the time, and you see nothing. Whether they don't want to slow down the game or they believe that you weren't in the play. It's like, man, you see Parsons run from one side of the field all the way to the other and make the tackle to save the touchdown. But, you go ahead and tell him that he had no chance of making the play. I want to see you make the play in the sense of calling the flag for those particular things when it's pretty obvious, when you're slamming people to the ground because you're holding them so much. But if you have some battling downfield with the corners, I want to see that. I don't mind it too much. Now, you have to be able to tell the difference between the pass interferences. But I will give them credit in the sense that with this playoffs, the referees that have been using the replay part of it, they've been doing really good stepping up. Like before the next play can go, they stop it and kind of reverse things. And I like that flow that they have.
Shout out to Carmel Corn. Hey, Jack. Carmel Corn's rooting for the Giants.
Oh,
yeah. Let's start with these. I agree. What you're saying, Phil. I do. I wholeheartedly agree. But it'll be interesting, man. It really will be interesting. I'm so excited with the last game.
Mm-hmm.
Look, we get to see everything play out. I don't know about you. I'm almost hoping the Eagles win because it's like added pressure. That the only reason I would root for the Giants is because obviously we will get a home game, right? But then all of a sudden that's added pressure that, oh my God,
thank you, Joe.
Now all you got to do is beat the Niners and we are home in a championship game. Is as nice as that sounds,
I appreciate
it's also like usually when we screw up, you know what I mean? So I don't know how you feel about that. I guess I don't know, man.
I just want them to play. I want them to whoop each other's, and then we can move on. It's just, I guess I should have had the things.
Jones going in there.
Well, I mean, if he was balling like he was the other time, he's gonna be able to whoop that. I know. And so,
all right, let's start with the first game on Saturday.
So we're going AFC, right?
Favorite. Yeah.
So we looked up the stat. I sent it to Bryan. They showed that you can get tickets for both AFC games and still be paying a cheaper price to go to the Cowboys-Niners game.
Yeah.
So that goes to show
crazy, isn't it?
But anyways, let's go to the first matchup.
It's Jags +9 at the Chiefs. Now, I mean, what does everybody think? I mean, I think the Chiefs win the game. I think it's close.
You think? Okay, they're playing the Jags, right? Yeah.
At halftime type of deal, maybe they're the Chiefs are up a field goal, maybe a touchdown tops. Then I think the Chiefs open it up in the second half. I'm rooting for Doug. I think Doug's a great coach.
I think that might be the reason why you stay in might be because of Doug Peterson. But man,
I really I mean, this just shows you that it wasn't.
Yeah. Well, I went in last week.
It wasn't Frank Reich. It wasn't the other coach. Doug Peterson had a say. Maybe he didn't know how to coach Jalen Hurts. I mean, I don't know. Or Carson Wentz. I mean, I don't know, but he's obviously a great coach. Look, he's taking another team, and he's already got a playoff win.
Yeah,
I think he can keep it close. What's everybody else think about the Jags and the Chiefs game?
So when I look at this matchup, obviously last week I'm looking at the Bills, thinking that they're just going to be able to roll over Miami. And Miami was in it. I mean, Miami was putting up a fight for a team with a guy that honestly was a big crutch for them. Their quarterback. Now, they had some amazing weapons, but they weren't really getting involved too much. So I was so surprised that they were even in it. So I want to give the Bills credit. I want to say that the Bills, when it comes to the Bengals, and I want to think that the Chiefs are just going to destroy the Jags. But I would say, the Chiefs are going to destroy the Jags, and the Jags have no chance at all. But when it comes to Doug Peterson, he definitely does a great job of game planning and taking away weapons. It's just, I think, with this offense for the Kansas City Chiefs, you're right. Even if you start out slow, it's hard to keep them down the whole time, especially if you give them a break in between where they can kind of figure out what they're doing wrong and go from there. But I don't see it close from the beginning. I really think that Kansas City can kind of
You really think it's a blowout?
Yes, I do.
I think the Jags are just a scrappy team.
But here's the thing: Trevor Lawrence for the past,
I think they are.
The past couple of weeks. I mean, you just have not seen that Trevor Lawrence that we played against, for example. That streak that they had, that last game wasn't great. Last week was not great. You're throwing 4 turnovers in any football game. Most likely, you're not going to win.
I think they're going to win. I agree with everybody.
But what happens?
I think the Chiefs win the game. I just think it could be close.
Yeah.
At least by halftime. I think I'm not afraid of the Chiefs' running game. I'm not afraid of the Chiefs' receivers. I mean, if you look at it, you know what I mean. It's Patrick Mahomes and a cast of characters. Obviously, they have a great tight end. But defense is hot and cold. It really is.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and I love their coach, Andy Reid. He's a great coach too.
Yeah,
we have to give him his credit. So I think the Chiefs win the game. I think they end up covering the 9, so I think they win by double digits at the end. But I do think it'll be close for a while.
I think I win.
Let's
I
go
think
to
they
the
win
other
by 17.
AFC game. We'll jump to the
Bills
the Sunday afternoon game. It's Bengals plus 5.5 against the Bills in Buffalo.
I'm a little surprised by that.
Yeah, I shall say that the Bengals just lost 2 of their offensive linemen this week. They're ruled out. So now we get the Joe Burrow, who lost half of his line in the Super Bowl last year. So I have my opinion, but go ahead, Phil. I'll defer to you.
I can see why they are picking Cincinnati. I mean, you can't take Joe Burrow and just say that you're out of any situation. Jamar Chase, not Jamar Chase. Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. Yeah, Jamar. I'm right. Okay, so I was thinking of the Washington guy. But
that's Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And
I mean, they got a great.
So
they're on a roll. They are definitely on a roll. So I can see where a lot of people would pick them. It's hard for me not to think that Buffalo is still not feeling that emotional ride with Hamlin and wanting to kind of do it for him and the crowd and how excited they are. They finally have a team to root for. I got to pick Buffalo in this matchup. I think Buffalo can definitely pull this game off, but I think you're right. I think it could go either way. I think both teams are very, very nicely matched, and they both have weapons. It's just, Josh Allen and them, they've had a problem getting sluggish. All of a sudden, they may start out fast or they start out slow, but it's not consistent. They're not blowing. They're not at Kansas City where they ride that level across the whole game. The Bills have been kind of up and down, and you're just wondering, what part will you be down? Will you be down towards the end of the game, or will you be down in the beginning part of the game? Will you be up? So
I'm surprised.
I got to go Bills
because the line. I'm surprised it didn't go back up a little more. It's only 5.5. I would think it would be higher. I think the Bengals got the shaft in that whole deal because the Bengals were beating the Bills. I think the Bengals were going to win that game, in my opinion.
I think you'll see.
So that whole stoppage, I think, only hurt the Bengals. I kind of feel bad for the Bengals. I'm rooting for the Bengals. I see the Bills. I mean, I really see the Bills this week. But Joe Burrow is so clutch, man. I'm going to root for that guy. He's Mr. Clutch, and everybody wants to talk about Josh Allen. I love Josh Allen, but did anybody look at how many interceptions he's thrown this year?
Fumbles and everything too. The combination,
that's why he's not the MVP.
Total.
Mahomes is the MVP, followed closely by Jalen Hurts, in my opinion.
And that's exact flow.
Everybody wants to talk shit about Josh Allen. He does nothing but throw picks. Yeah, he can run the ball and run you over here and there, but in the playoffs, you can't throw picks. So, it'll be interesting to see. There's Stan, everybody. There he is. I mean, it'll be interesting to see. But I like the Bills in that game. Again, I think, I don't know, man. I think the Bills cover. I won't say double digits, but I think the Bills cover by a touchdown. That's just my opinion. So let's break down the Giants plus 7.5 against the Eagles. I was kind of surprised it was this high, but what's your opinion on that, Phil? What do you think about the Giant game?
Okay, so I mean, who was the? Okay, so I gotta imagine who the favorite is, but what is it?
It's 7.5. The Eagles are favored.
I would give them that. To me, I think Philly definitely has the matchup, but again, I wouldn't be surprised if Giants can play anywhere near what they played last week, they definitely have a chance of winning that game. Especially with kind of the struggles that Philly has had most of recent. Whether that quarterback's coming back and you feel like he's healthy or whatever, there's still a problem there. It just takes one hit, and you know that he needs to run the ball in order for this team to be successful. It can't just be throwing, because he does not have that ability to just take over a game by throwing. I mean, it's going to need the shallow crosses for A.J. Brown and those guys in order for him to throw for 300 yards. You're going to need to get those balls very closely and let them run.
It'll be interesting to see. Yeah, I agree with that. It'll be interesting to see when a Jalen Hurts runs the ball. He's got to be careful. They're saying he's full go. Well, he's full go. They can't shoot up his injury. It's not the AC joint. He's still hurt. Let's be clear. But he has to play. He's gonna play. It'll just be interesting to see if he runs up the middle of the field. That's the part about being a running quarterback. He's great in the pocket, but that's my opinion. It's because of the threat of the run. Also, they kind of want to keep him in the pocket, and he's developed into a top-notch pocket passer. But what makes him special is his running. So it'll be curious to see. I was surprised that the Giants kept it close the last game of the year when they were playing their second string, basically, right, and their third string quarterback.
Yes, they do, Joe.
And they lost, by 6 points. I think the Philly's the type of place, been there many times, where you could get rolled early.
Mm-hmm, you can.
The Giants can withstand the early pressure from the Eagles, then they have a chance. I don't think they can. And I think that, my opinion, I think the Eagles could pull away and win by double digits. I just do. The line is 7.5. I think that, I know everybody's rooting for the Giants. I don't see it happening. I got to be honest. I think the Eagles will, they have a lot of rested guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be curious to see how Lane Johnson is. He's going to play. He's got a torn abdominal muscle that doesn't go away. So we'll see how he's managed. They're going to shoot him up. So, in my opinion, Eagles win the game. It sets it all up for the 1980 replay. So the Giants win, man. That would be crazy to me. So, it's my opinion, people.
Well, when I look at this matchup, obviously I see the Giants playing some really good football. Now, is it elite football? I can't. No, I'm not going to tell you that. I mean, they were battling to get into the playoffs because the inconsistencies within their team. Now, when they had to play, they played an amazing game. Can they do it 2 weeks in a row? I think that inconsistency with this team has been their main Achilles heel. Is that they get behind, and yes, this team has been able to battle back against teams to kind of sneak those wins off. You could see something like that happening within this game. So, I mean, if Philly gets up, they get comfortable or whatever, they kind of, throw the Giants, okay, we got this, and start celebrating on the sideline. You can see the Giants sneak back in. But, right. I'm with you, Brian. I think Philly takes care of this matchup, but I would not be disappointed and I would not be sad if I saw the Giants handle some business. And if they can get that momentum going into Philly, they're going to be a tough team for the next following team, whoever they play. It's just, I don't think they're enough team to represent the NFC in general. You just don't want that matchup going into the Super Bowl, whether you're going against any of those teams. I mean, think about three of those teams that are on the AFC. You're talking about Kansas City, you're talking about the Bengals, you're talking about the Bills. You're going to need to be able to put up some points as an offense. And so, there's only a couple of teams that are left, and I don't think Giants are one of those teams that is just going to start putting up points no matter who they face. So
I think the Giants are in a position, and I agree, they're in a position to where, they're happy. You know what I mean? They're real happy. Nobody expected them to make the playoffs, let alone win a playoff game. Mm-hmm. If their season ended, on Saturday night, I think they would be upset for a little bit, and then they would wake up and say, "Listen, we've realized that Daniel Jones, in my opinion, is a starting quarterback in this league. He needs a better line, and you saw what happened. So that's where I'm going. I think the Eagles want it more. The Eagles not too far removed. I think you got some guys like Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson. Believe it or not, he's not that old, but he doesn't have much time left himself. He's talking about retiring. Kelsey is not going to be around that much longer. They have veteran guys
Fletcher
who
Cox.
want it too much, and I think are going to play all out. I just do. AJ Brown he hasn't won nothing in Tennessee. I just think the Eagles are going to win it this week. So that's my opinion. So it'd be nice to have a home championship game, but if we go into San Francisco and take care of business, it's a big if, then I'm not worried about going anywhere.
No, exactly. That is the truth. That is a big truth. This is definitely going to be the matchup when it comes, because the defense. I mean, this defense is legit, and this offense that we have can score against elite. When you talk about Dak returning, obviously the biggest stats, the offense is number one in scoring. The offense is on third down conversions, red zone offense. There's a lot of stuff to be said that rotates around what Dak has been able to do within this team. And so if you can get that same focus, if he can go in there knowing, hey, this is what I have to do, and he can kind of, do his surgical thing. I love our matchup within the secondary. I mean, I'm not fearful of too many. I mean, obviously, if there's a play to be made, there's a play to be made. There's a reason why these guys play in the NFL, but I definitely feel better about this matchup than I did last year. Last year, I didn't feel good, and there were so many reasons why.
Yeah. Yep. I agree, and we're getting into the Dallas game now. What do you think about the Dallas game, man? Honest opinion, Phil. Honest, deep down, where you don't want to really talk about. What are you thinking about the Dallas game at the Niners?
In the beginning of the week, I would, if I was going to bet, again, like I said, if I was going to bet my house, I would have gone with the 49ers. I definitely would have probably, because I feel, I felt like they were a great defense. I don't care who you matched up with. That defense is going to be a problem for anybody. And so, what gives me the confidence is obviously last week's game. Going against a good quarterback is in Tom Brady, being able to rattle him. Something that I don't see very often when it comes to Tom Brady is rattling him. I mean, I can think of maybe like a handful of games that I've seen him where his throws are off that much, and it's because of the pressure. So I like the focus that we went into that game. I see that same focus this week. I've been on the fence because obviously I understand the matchup that San Francisco provides. I just think, where I was feeling really, okay, Brock Purdy's been doing good. You got to worry about their running game. You got to worry about, Deebo Samuel's in the passing game. You got to worry about their defense. They are a very stacked team. So obviously you'd feel comfortable going in there. And if you're a Niners fan, you should feel confident going into the matchup. But I have definitely felt different listening to this team talk, hearing them, listening, watching the not as much flags, whether the running game gets started or not. They need to stick to it and eventually you're going to break one. I think Pollard, you're right. You keep that going. I feel better about the Cowboys by the end of this week. And so I could have felt, I'm back and forth where I could see either team. Like I said last week, I could see Tampa Bay blowing us out. I could see Dallas blowing them out. I could see it down the middle where we finish in overtime. I could see the same thing. I don't see the blowout part on our side because, again, they have to, I agree with a lot of the chat where I think the rookie is going to come back down to earth. And it's because of the defense that we provide. I'm not saying that this defense is not going to allow plays because they do allow plays. But I feel better about this matchup than compared to a Raiders defense where, we definitely have a whole lot of holes. And I don't feel that way about this. We had that one hole on the cornerback 2 side. And I feel like we have some guys that can plug it in. So I definitely like us more in the matchup. But again, it's because of the vibe that the team is giving than more of the actual overall atmosphere. So I love our matchup going in there. So I definitely would go more towards us, but it's not by much. Sorry about the rambling, guys. Sorry about the rambling. There was a lot. There's a lot there.
It sounds a little scared.
Well, I'm not scared. I understand what they are. And I mean, for 49er fans,
you're being real.
Yeah, for 49er fans, you should have. I mean, you can go with a confidence, but you have to know that this, if any team's going to knock you out, this one's the one that's going to have a better chance.
Here's my confidence. I'm going to instill some more confidence. Now, I will tell you that they've won 11 in a row.
Yes.
I will tell you that they have rolled a lot of teams. I will tell you that they haven't played anybody. They don't have the body of work that we have. They gave up 23 points last week in a playoff game at home to Seattle. Seattle's banged up. Really? I mean, if you look at their signature win, I mean, what is their signature win? I guess you would say Seattle, right? Cardinals? I mean, how good are the Cardinals? All right, I understand they took care of business, but they're not a great team. The Commanders, okay, they're not in the playoffs.
I know.
They played 2 close games against Seattle. Yeah, they beat the Buccaneers. Okay, below 500 team. They beat the Dolphins. I would say the Dolphins. They're a non-playoff team, but they beat the Dolphins. Who else did they beat? The Cardinals, the Rams. We worried about. Okay, they played the Chiefs. He gave up 44 points and lost 44-23. They lost to the Falcons 28-14. So I mean, all I'm trying to say is their body of work isn't that great.
Yeah,
I've already said that their offense is talented, if not the most talented in the league. The defense can be had regardless of their sack numbers. Nick Bosa is a beast. I get it, but we could use that against him. I think that Dallas is up. I think Dallas is up double digits. And then I think the Niners make a run. And they tie the game. I see a close game. And I want to see everybody's final scores here because, you get ready to wrap it up.
So before you get into your score, I'm going to go my score. Yeah. I think Dallas definitely. I feel like the same way. I feel that we can get ahead. Whether San Francisco kind of does their thing in the beginning and then kind of comes back down to earth, but I see Dallas winning this game 25-21. I think it's going to be close, but I really believe that this, whether we're trying to run the ball to try to keep the play out of the offensive hands where it slows down, obviously you can see something going big on that other side, but I can see us winning 25-21. But I think it's going to be a close game because these two teams definitely are going to battle. So go ahead. Now I want you to go ahead and deliver the mail here.
Well, I'm just saying this. I see Dallas up 10 points. I see the Niners coming. You're getting a big play, whether it's Debo, whether it's a long you run by McCaffrey. I see them tying the game or getting close. But I'm gonna say they tie, but I don't know that they're necessarily gonna tie. But I think Dallas gets the ball. They drive the field, and I think with under 2 minutes to go, they kick a long field goal to take a 3-point lead. Okay, that's leaving a minute 50 on the clock, I'm saying. Minute 40. I think Brock Purdy gets the ball. I think he's moving the ball upwards, like close to midfield. I think we put pressure on him. It's going to be like a 3rd and long type of deal. Maybe 4th and long. He has to force something. I think Diggs gets an interception to end the game. I think Dallas kneels. The old Landry kneel.
Yep.
With there. And I think the final score is Cowboys 34, Niners 31.
Okay. That's good.
That's what I think. I think Cowboys.
That's a good score. I like that score. I like that score just because all week I was back and forth.
Dallas has a nice lead, and Niners come storming back. Start going for it on 4th down.
Yep.
You're getting a big touchdown. You're getting a field goal. That's what I see. I see Purdy throwing an interception on the last drive. It's going to be a nail biter. We're all going to be scared. Diggs is going to seal the deal.
That's a good one.
What do you think about that?
No, I love that. I could again, like we're talking about this. We're not, as a Cowboy fan, we're not 52-0. No, man. We understand we're the matchup we're going against.
We got our work cut out for us.
And we
definitely
do
have our work cut out for us. No way I'm picking against my team with the mindset that they have right now. I'm not picking against them. I got news for you. I don't care who they're playing.
That's the part too.
That is the part too. I'm not picking against them.
Because I haven't
seen this team in a long time.
Well, there's a lot of things that were adding to it. I mean, I thought, okay, well, San Francisco, I mean, I could definitely see them winning by a field goal and in the beginning of the week, and then I heard Parsons talk, and I was like, okay, let me take a point away. And then I heard Mike McCarthy talk. I was like, okay, let me take a point away. Then I heard Dak talk. Okay, now we tied it up because of that. And now we talk about, like, okay, we're adding points and stuff. As I take this away, I'm adding it there because I'm loving what I'm hearing from the locker room. Whether they fulfill anything, the mindset is different than it was last year. And as Cowboy fans, your mindset should be different than it was last year. Now, if you were thinking that we were going to blow them out, I don't know what you were thinking last year. But at the same time, you should have confidence in this team this year because, whether you're talking about special teams, you get excited. Whether you're talking about our defense, you get excited. About the offense, you get excited. You get kind of dumbfounded with some of the coaching staff, but you still get excited about the possibilities because you've seen Kellen Moore actually on his game. You've seen Dan Quinn when he can really focus on the matchup that's in front of him. And you see Mike McCarthy bringing that swagger to this team. And I think the only one that doesn't have that on top of their game is Jerry Jones, but they just need to shut up and kind of let this team do their thing. I'm loving this matchup as well. So as we got more do we get more scores? We got Gina thinking it's 34-21. We see a lot of these
people in the chat. Thanks,
what are you guys thinking? If you're a 49ers fan, what do you think of?
I saw somebody I want to hear.
How much do you guys think that you're going to win by?
I want to know what the Niners honestly feel. Don't just throw out a score and go, "You suck." I mean, we know we're playing arguably the best offense, but I feel like we could take advantage of our defense. Dak's already proven since his return from injury that he's averaging over 30 points a game. Even with the stinker in Washington, they weren't mentally ready to go. They're going to be ready to go, son.
TJ Butcher.
Dak's,
Now, TJ Butcher says 49ers quarterback ain't experienced enough, and they ain't played in against a defense like ours. And that's the truth. You're right there.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Who leads? I don't know. I have a weird question. Who leads the NFL in turnover on defense? That would be our Dallas Cowboys. Mm-hmm. And we're playing a rookie quarterback who's played good. Now, he's played 8 games.
See, that's where I'm right
there. God bless him, man.
Yeah, he's
this
definitely...
ain't your time. This ain't your time. All right?
No, but I mean, you got to definitely give him credit in that sense. We're not going to take them anything away. We know the matchup. We know Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan's going to have something special for us. Remember that. I remember that. Is that going into this matchup, you're seeing a lot of people jumping onto that, which is very understandable. But what happens after the game? Do they give the Cowboys credit if they can pull off this victory, and whether they sneak it at the end?
The 49ers, Phil. If they don't give, I don't want the credit. No. If we win, I don't want the credit.
Keep on batching on
this. This is just fueling us. This is just fueling us. It's fueled us all year. Go ahead, keep doubting this.
I know, Mary.
That's fine.
So, no, Mary was saying, hopefully, God willing, that the Cowboys win. So, yeah, that's what I was like, yeah, hopefully. But any other points that you want to make about this game as we go into this matchup?
No, I'm just really happy with the way they played. It's easy to look back and go, Tampa wasn't great, yada yada. But before the game, everybody had them winning.
Mm-hmm.
Tom was coming off the game prior, where he was awesome, hitting everybody in stride. What we did was make him look that way. I'm sorry to say, that's what happened. You have to give him credit. I'm just happy for Mike McCarthy. I'm happy for Dak because Dak gets shits off. Excuse my language. He gets crapped on more than any quarterback that I know of. With his record. His win-loss record is really second to none over his career.
Look, I was gonna put that in there just to make it seem like
I didn't know what that was. I thought it was getting.
You're like, time for my life alert.
Yeah.
I
thought like somebody had radar lock on me. I was getting ready to hit the brakes. But
so we just need to worry about that.
Excited for a good weekend of football.
Yeah, we just need to focus on that thing.
Another one.
And we just need to get another one. Exactly, DJ.
Get another one.
Get another one. And another one.
And another one.
Another one.
But no, I'm again, football's in the air. Different than what we in the beginning of the season, where we're going to be. We knew that we're going to be a playoff team. Was how are we going into the playoffs? What type of matchups were we going to go in against? You can't, as we're talking about the defense for our team and how the San Francisco rookie has not gone against like that. you can't say the same for the other side for our team. We have been definitely going against some really good defenses, and that's what Bryan has brought out, is that with that number 1 schedule, to still put up 13 wins is an amazing feat. So
yeah, it's impressive. It really is.
And in previous years, obviously Dallas has had a problem. Oh, they couldn't beat playoff teams with winning records. Well, this year has been different. It has been different. They've been beating playoff teams. They have been beating teams with winning records. So you have a chance going into this matchup against a great defense. But still, this is going to be one hell of a test for the Dallas Cowboys, and I feel good going into the matchup. Again, as a Cowboy fan, feel great about it because this team has definitely proven.
I'm gonna wear my cowboy hat. When are we going on Monday?
You're going to go on Monday to talk about hopefully a victory,
a little
right?
In my mouth after this win.
So
watch.
Sorry, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I don't care less about the credit. All I want is the win, and it's true. It's true, and I mean, of course, I say that because I'm just, you hear about all that trash talking, when David Hellman has to kind of defend himself every single day as he goes to work. It just sucks for him, but will it happen? It only will happen if he holds that trophy up at the end. That's the only time he'll gain any kind of respect, and that has to be his focus.
I just feel something special, man. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna roll with that. I feel it. I was worried after the Washington game, but clearly they weren't mentally in that game. I think everybody knew what was going to happen, but still, it's a little surprising. But listen, man, like I said, we have more, going on than what it is. And shout out to Stuart. We're thinking about you, buddy. We miss you.
Yeah, help them out this weekend, man.
It's going to be for you, my man.
So, anyways, before we get out of here, Bryan, anything you want to talk to the chat about?
I've said it all. I'm ready to roll.
And I feel that way too. I'm pretty sure they understand that I've been big, long-winded, so I've gotten everything out. And but yeah, we'll hopefully be here. We'll see what happens this weekend with great football. Whether it's
talk about a championship game on the horizon.
So here we go. Okay. So again, thank you very much for watching. 39 people, almost 40 people into the chat. I appreciate it so much, guys. And when you guys watching the replays, getting us up there, we have the Pacquiao Chip Challenge, of course, still in the works. We're 1,000 subscribers, or again, the Cowboys get to the Super Bowl, and either way, we're going to do that. So it just which one's going to come first? That's kind of one of those things. It's just like in the way that it's feeling, it's just like better get that baby ready, right? So anyways,
I'm working on my new set, people. It's behind me. I'm going to have a different set. I'll go back and forth, but I'm kind of superstitious. I don't want to go to it right now. I'm going to wait. I'm going to just ride out this momentum.
Pat, what's going on? Comes in at the end there. But I appreciate everybody coming through. And if you're a 49ers fan, give us your score in the comments. Let us know what you think is going to happen. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to trash talk and stuff, that's okay too. Philly fans are going to jump in there, and Giant fans as well. So all 31 other teams, you're more than welcome to let us know what you think is going to happen in this matchup. For the rest of you guys, hit that like button, hit the share if you can. Help our channel really grow a lot. But don't forget to do what, Bryan?
Always ring that bell.
All right, guys. I appreciate it again in chat. Love you guys. And tune in on Monday.
Hey! We know each other. He's a friend from work.
What you do, you're like a little screw loose type of guy, and that's how I am. So I'm digging it, big guy. I am.
Who are you?
You.
No, not me, you.
Yes, I am you.
Just answer the damn questions. Who are you?
GameTime Bryan, otherwise known as the mailman here.
Cool name. Superpowers?
Broadcasting from the illustrious Jobu Studio.
Come on, are you going to tell me who that is?
Primetime Phil. And of course, my co-host, GameTime Bryan.
Oh, Jesus Christ, this place is going to explode. $100,000. I don't even need to hear it.